You know right. And but going kind of the combination between the two. Another one that I mean, it's kind of tricky when it comes to intentional torts because as a general principle, it's going to be one individual doing something to another one, making that person feel like they can't leave in a confined space, false imprisonment, or assault and battery usually go together. So let's just say hitting someone just for simplicity purposes. But a tricky part about someone receiving compensation. Matter of public record at this point, but we've had a few cases where people have literally died from these kind of altercations at bar and restaurants. So the hard part about someone being made whole for potentially their life being ruined from an intentional tort is basically having a source to be compensated from. So real, an example is if there's a high school kid who's just getting bullied, constantly and in an extreme manner, and then including being harmed physically, then it's, it would have to be made whole. What are you going to do? Go after someone individually? Just some kid who's beating you up or hurting you. They're not going to be able to compensate you or be on the hook, even if they are legally the actual and financial practicality for a life lost if you end up, say, committing suicide or something along those lines. But so really you need to look at safeguards such as the school, such as the institutions and entities, organizations that are responsible for the care of, say, in this scenario, the student, where they dropped the ball as far as preventing bullying that they should have known about, that they did know about. So it gets really tricky with intentional torts to I mean that's just the reality of the situation. Yeah. It's kind of a jaded way to but it's just true,
Coverage is a huge issue.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you just get in a street fight, then there's probably not going to be any coverage.
Right.
Most people are not walking around with, umbrella liability policies,
right,
personal acts. The other thing too is a lot of insurance companies may try to, or successfully, exclude intentional acts.
Right.
Yeah. That's why, like you said, a lot of times they are coupled with negligence as well. The traditional sense that you see a lot of times with, assault and battery, I think is exactly what you're talking about, coupled with some place, whether that be an act of an employee or something like that. And then sometimes also, there are some narrow exclusions where maybe you're at someone's house and another guest at that person's house, gets in a fight, shoots you, anything like that. It may be covered under homeowners insurance and things like that. But a lot of times you're right. Coverage is the issue. Damages and coverage are usually the biggest issues with these. Because even if you have, like, false imprisonment, for example, you may be false imprisoned by someone, and that may be even an employee of a store, for example. There's limited exclusions as to when a store employee can detain you for, like, shoplifting and things like that.
Suspected.
Yeah, there's some different exclusions and stuff. But imagine if you just decided to lock me in a closet, then you falsely imprisoned me. You didn't have a legal basis for it. You didn't have the authority to do it. I have a claim against you. But what are my damages again? And you brought up emotional distress. Infliction of emotional stress is a tort.
Right.
There's negligent and intentional. But those have to require usually twofold kind of things that make them difficult too. Is one, they have to require some sort of action that's outrageous.
Like a very, shocking.
Yeah. Outrageous.
To the
and then,
conscience.
Usually has to have that physical manifestation. I don't know if you remember that. Like
with negligent infliction.
You have to have, you have to be so distressed that it causes physical.
Oh yeah,
manifestation.
right. The
You
physical
know,
man. Okay, damages.
maybe that be, that you are sent into such a depression that you get physically sick, or, heaven forbid, you try to harm yourself, or have some, mental break, some manifestation other than you're just sad because someone did something to you,
Right.
So they do have some interesting kind of aspects,
Yeah.
But, I think those are kind of the main ones against the person, that we've kind of branched on here, is assault, battery, false imprisonment, infliction of emotional distress, or intentional infliction of emotional distress, IIED. Those are kind of all against the person.